We are now into election season within the city of Peoria, and there are 15 candidates going for 5 at-large seats on Peoria City Council. And one of those candidates joining me now is Dr. Rita Ali. Thank you so much for being here.
It's a pleasure.
Now, I wanted to go ahead and start off with you as if you were on the council during this budget debate, all right? Because obviously that was a big thing within the city of Peoria.
Sure.
A few things that ended up happening, the conversation regarding police and fire cuts, I want to start there. If you were on council and you had to make that decision, where would you have landed in regards to what should happen for our police and fire? Would you have said for cuts? Would you have tried to find another way?
Okay. So first of all, I would have listened to the department heads in terms of, what they're communicating in terms of whether we're digging too deep in terms of cutting basic services. I don't believe that we can put the public at health in terms of cutting too many police or too many fire services, because we're talking about lives, and lives are too important. So when it comes down to the cuts that we made in terms of fire, I think that we dug definitely too deep. When it comes to basic services, I just think an assessment has to be done, overall assessment has to be done to determine what is the basic level and then what is the premium level, and we need to be somewhere in between.
Now, the city, and talking with City Manager Patrick, and Logic as well, if you don't make cuts, you have to find some way to get revenue, and one of the ways that the city did that to address the pension issue was the new fee that they also have tacked on. They don't want to call it a tax, they call it a fee. What are your thoughts on that? Because there are a lot of people who believe that they're already taxed or there's already fees that are too much. What are your thoughts on that fee that was added?
Sure. So part of my platform is property tax relief. I mean, we're running people out of the city. Illinois is one of the highest property taxes in the state, and then Peoria has one of the highest property taxes in the whole state of Illinois. Excuse me, Illinois has the highest in the nation, and Peoria has one of the highest in the state. So we can't keep using property taxes, which that's what that is, against the people in order to close the budget. We have to really find ways to generate revenue, and that's what I think we haven't done enough of. This is a stopgap situation, and so everybody suffers from that. But I think we need a long-term plan for not just closing the gap, but actually generating external revenue, which means investing capital into projects in the city.
Do you have any ideas on what that plan might entail, or a strategy to reach that plan?
Absolutely do. And I've worked in institutions within Peoria and executive leadership for a long time in terms of building stronger institutions, and I think that I can help build a stronger city by bringing private sector and public sector entities together to find ways to inject capital into our city. And it takes external resources. It takes both. We can bring private and public grants. I mean, I've been a leader in terms of bringing millions of dollars into the city for various reasons. So I think that we have to have a plan, and not just a short-term plan, but a long-term plan that really builds a stronger, better Peoria, and I can help to do that.
You mentioned about property tax relief. What strategies would you implement there? Because I've also heard people complain about not only property taxes, but also landlords and prices in which they are either charged, or landlords, all of the various things in which they're asked to do as well. What would you do to ameliorate that situation involving property taxes, landlords, and just general housing within the Peoria area?
Again, we've got rising property taxes. I suffer from it, you suffer from it, everybody is suffering from it, and that's the route that we go to close the budget. We cannot continue to do that because we're losing population within the city, so we have to find other means to close the budget, or to basically fulfill our budget needs for the city. So my strategy would be, again, external resources, investment of capital, but all done through collaboration. I think if we put together a plan, and not just the city council members, but really bringing all of our institutions together, for-profit, not-for-profit entities together to build the plan. Nobody's going to invest in a plan that they're not engaged in, that they're not a part of. But I think that we can bring together entities to build a plan that they can believe in, and then I believe that they will also invest in that plan. You know, I worked at Bradley University when they had their first $100 million capital campaign. $100 million, they can't raise that. They did it. And it started with a $10 million investment by Caterpillar. And eventually, we raised $100 million.
So let's switch over to education with your background in that as well. Peoria Public Schools just yesterday decided to extend for Dr. Sharon Karat her contract, which does include pay raises, and there are members of the teachers union who are saying that they haven't seen enough to warrant that. What is your assessment of the direction in which the Peoria Public School District is going? And then as a council member, what would you do or call for to better support teachers and for students? What is it that they need at this point?
I've been an educator for over 25 years, and so I believe in education. I believe in investing in our education and our children. Human capital is our greatest asset. So leadership matters. I think that Dr. Karat is a strong leader. Strong leaders have to be compensated appropriately. You know, people don't always understand that at certain levels, that it takes a certain level of a compensation to keep good leaders, otherwise we could lose them. She's a keeper. She's one that we don't want to lose. Yet at the same time, I understand some of the challenges that the teachers are facing. We have a new generation of young people. We have trauma experienced by children. So they're experiencing, I think some behaviors and some experiences that they haven't gone through before. So they're asking for help. And so mediation is needed, collaboration is needed, and we have to find mutual ways to work together.
You were also, for a long time, on the Police Community Relations Board. There have been a lot of calls amongst the public and then also the police taking steps to try to make the relationship better, particularly after the year that we had with 3 police-involved shootings and the distrust and those scenarios cause for people, particularly within the Black community.
Yes.
You yourself, obviously, having been here for years and being on the Police Community Relations Board, what is needed in that regard? How can the council assist in building back trust between the communities that have lost trust and also at the same time equipping the police department to be able to do their jobs?
Right. So those are great questions, and I still chair the Advisory Committee on Police Community Relations, and we had a really tough meeting the other day talking about the 22 homicides and talking about, the issues of distrust of the police. Well, we've advocated for a long time for body cams, and I'm just thrilled that now we have body cams. I participated in that CALEA assessment process, and the police chief that actually interviewed me from Connecticut said that his officers love body cams. It makes them more responsible. It makes the citizens more responsible. So that's a good thing. I think we're headed in the right direction with the CALEA, which is a golden standard methodology for making police departments stronger and better, more accountable to the public and engaging the public. We have to have an engaged public that's talking to one another. Resident officer program is fantastic. So I'm pleased that we're heading in the right direction, but we have to have stronger neighborhoods. There's a lot of crime that's taking place in pockets of our city. We have to get a hold on that. We have to put a stop to that. I wish there was something other than bullets, to stop people in their tracks when we have issues. I think with new technologies, there should be something to just knock somebody out, rather than to actually to terminate their life.
All right. 2 more questions that I have for you. One is regarding the last several years, the city has been included within that 24/7 Wall Street survey, that being one of the worst cities for African Americans. That's prompted a lot of discussion within the city, whether people believe it or they don't. It's prompted a lot of discussion with people who actually feel that that is the case. Where do you stand on that? Does Peoria have a diversity issue, not just a diversity issue, I guess an equity issue? And what can be done? Furthermore, I know we got the new diversity inclusion officer. What needs to be done to improve that so that that reputation isn't even something associated with the city of Peoria?
Okay. First of all, relative to the study, the city embraced the fact that 24/7 Wall Street said that Peoria is one of the 25 most innovative cities in the country. But they didn't embrace the study about the disparity between blacks and whites within the city. It's the same source. So I think that we have to accept the reality that we have great disparities and great inequities between people that live on one side of the city and people that live on another, people of one race and people of another. I've seen the facts. I've seen the data. So there is disparity. There's disparity of income. There's disparity. There's skill shortages. There's education inequities. So we have to address equity. We have to address skill shortages. We have to make African Americans just as employable as other races within our city. In order to be a strong city, we have to have a strong workforce. If we have a strong workforce, we're going to reduce crime and address a lot of other social, economic issues. So my goal is to make Peoria a strong workforce. And you do that by educating the community, by addressing skill shortages and making people more employable. That will actually draw small, medium, and maybe even large businesses to our area because we have a strong workforce.
All right, my final question to you is this. Obviously, as an at-large candidate, you have to represent people from all throughout the city of Peoria, from District 1 to District 5. What makes you, in your opinion, the most qualified person to be able to represent people from all various aspects of the city of Peoria?
Right. Diversity has been my profession, and for over 30 years it's been my life for, all of my life. I can relate to people. I can build bridges. I am a bridge builder. I know how to collaborate. I have support from all different races and ethnicities within the city, from all, people from all different walks of life. As you know, I ran for 5th District City Council 2 years ago. I lost by 1 vote. I certainly had support from Republicans and Democrats and independents alike. So this is nonpartisan. I think I'll continue to have support across, gender, across all those differences that we have, and that's what it takes, somebody that can draw support from people with differences and bring everybody together in a unified strategy.
All right, well, Dr. Rita Ali, running for one of Peoria City's at-large council seats. Best of luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for being here.
Okay.